What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Global Leaders Roundtable. Listen, we are knocking it out of the park. We're having extraordinary conversations with extraordinary individuals and leaders from all over the world. Now, I say that on purpose because it's true. God has really afforded me a great opportunity to sit with people at this digital platform and really talk to them from all over the world: South America, South Africa, Canada, Germany. Oh my gosh, where else? London, Paris, all over Canada and the United States. And I'm super glad that today we get another opportunity to talk to a great man of God, and a great leader. You do not want to miss this conversation, like you really don't want to miss any of our conversations, right? But tonight is going to be really good, or today, wherever you are watching this, it's going to be really good. So stay tuned with what we're getting ready to talk about. Listen, I am your host, Kenyon R. Dudley, keynote speaker, leadership strategist, and I am the builder of this kingdom aligned space where purpose meets healing and leadership meets authenticity. And for those of you who are just getting a chance to meet me, my number one goal and mission in life is to say something that's going to transform someone's life by transforming their thinking, and introducing them to God. Why introduce you to God? Because I believe in God, you'll find your purpose. You'll find your reason for being here. You'll find joy, peace, and all the other things that your soul longs for. It's in Him. And listen, this episode is about another conversation that is literally going to shed light on that mission. We're going to be talking about addiction, recovery, and the life saving power of awareness. You don't want to miss it. Tag, like, and share, and go ahead and subscribe today to our channel at TGLR Network on YouTube. And for those of you who have been a part of the family, the ecosystem for quite some time, thank you for being our followers. Thank you for being our family. You truly bless me with your subscription. Thank you so much. Listen, I'm going to jump right into this conversation because I think that God really wants to speak to somebody through what we're going to talk about. Today's guest is a bold voice in advocacy, recovery, and redemptive leadership. David Mahler is a leader who understands the intersection of crisis and compassion. He's made it his life's mission to bring awareness to substance use disorders and break the silence that keeps families trapped in shame and confusion. David's work has reached leaders, churches, and communities seeking healing, truth, and action. This isn't just a professional mission that he has, it is personal. And today, his voice is here, right here at the Global Leaders Roundtable, to bring clarity, hope, and next steps if you or someone that you know is dealing with addiction in some sort of way. Help me welcome my new brother in Christ, David Mahler. David, how's it going, man? How's it going?
Going well, Ken. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you. Thank you. Happy to be
Absolutely.
here.
I'm glad that you are here. This is a very good conversation we're getting ready to have. I can feel it. And so thank you for saying yes to come and just chat with me for a little bit. Why don't you, before we jump into our discussion today, why don't you officially introduce yourself from your perspective? Who are you? Who's Dave? And what part of the world are you in? And what is it that God has you doing right now? You told me that you just stepped away from a huge career at Wall Street. Let's hear about that.
All right. So my name's Dave Mahler. As you know, uh, I'm a recovery coach. I call my practice Ground Zero Recovery Coaching. I took the name because on 9/11, I was in Tower 1 when the plane hit.
Wow.
The first plane hit. I was on the 26th floor. I was also in the building in '93 when there was a bomb in the building. So I'm
Wow.
myself a little bit. But God had other plans for me. And I was working in an office of about 400 guys. And when that plane hit the building, my office, everybody got up, got to the stairway quickly. And the one thing that stays in my mind is watching those brave firemen run up with their backpacks as we were running for our lives.
Wow.
I didn't even know at that moment that it was a terrorist. I got to the lobby. I met a police officer that I grew up with. I hadn't seen in 20 years. And he's like, cover your head, stuff's going on. And I got out of the building, and right above my head was a second plane. It was so low, I could read the numbers on the bottom of the plane. And I was like, what do I do? I was just so afraid of the glass. I ran towards the West Side Highway, Battery Park City in New York. I'm born and bred in Brooklyn. You may hear my accent. I don't know who's listening.
Yeah.
And I saw some ferry boats going back and forth to New Jersey. And I said, wow, I got to get on one of those boats. But I had to walk back towards the building. And unfortunately, as I got closer to the building, I witnessed quite a few people jumping.
Wow.
And it still deals with some PTSD today from that on and off. I remember at that time, I was in my first marriage, and we were going for some counseling. And I sit down with a Christian counselor, and she looks, and we're talking, she goes, I can't counsel you on marriage. I have to counsel you first on the trauma you're going through. And I didn't even know it. I didn't think anything was going on. So that's how I became Ground Zero recovery coaching.
Whoa. Let's just take a moment, because I tell people all the time when they get ready to sit with me, we get enough information to know that we want you on the show, but we leave it open enough so that I can learn something new. And this part, guys, so my response, my shock that you're seeing it's organic and it's real, because I didn't know this about David, and I didn't know that this was really a part of why he's doing what he's doing. Man, so to actually be there, and I don't want to, dig too deep.
I'm good.
Okay, so all right, because I want to be respectful of this experience. I remember where I was, in the nation when it happened, and looking at the television and hearing and seeing things that I had never heard and seen in my life.
Yeah.
But you were up close. You were at ground zero. This is why we have the name of your consultancy company. So take me there for a moment, if you can. What's going on in your mind when you are experiencing these things, seeing these things, these people? What is being said in your mind? What's happening?
I'm thinking Kurt Russell movie Escape from New York.
Yeah.
I got to get out of here.
Yeah.
And so I got on that ferry boat. When I was on the boat, I watched one of the buildings come down.
Wow.
I didn't know for years. My building got hit first.
Okay.
And I guess I never thought about it, but Tower 2 went down first.
Okay.
And I never even realized that till years later. So I get on the ferry boat, then I get to a train station, and the trains would only go so far. I got to Newark, New Jersey, and the fighter planes are going over your head now, and it's like, I got to get out of here. And I lived about an hour outside the city. And coincidentally, a guy who lived right on my same street was right there with me.
Wow.
Never saw him once on my commute in my life.
Yeah.
And we got in a taxi cab, and we took the taxi home, and I was in my house pretty early. I was in my house like before 11 o'clock, considering what time it all happened.
And so you're at home. So you, first of all, a miracle to even get out of ground zero at that point. and
Yeah.
to get out of there unscathed or extremely hurt is a
Yeah.
miracle in and of itself. But you're at home, you're of course by now probably looking at the news and hearing different things. Is that how it
Not
happened?
feeling right. Not to interrupt, but not feeling right. Like, you know, you hear in helicopters, you can go over where I lived in the suburbs and not and feeling uneasy. You know, and like I said, the trauma. People were holding hands and they were jumping twos and threes, and
Wow.
the thud of hitting the ground, and you know, you saw women holding pocketbooks. Like, why are they holding the bag? I guess they get identified. You know,
Yeah.
I couldn't even imagine.
Yeah.
And but I got out of there pretty quickly, and you know, went back to work in the city maybe a month later in a temporary office.
Really,
Yeah,
really, really, really.
and there was all the rubble there, and still the smell and the smoke and all that stuff was still going.
So so like a month later from this
I think it was less.
tragic,
It could have been 2 weeks.
yeah, 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 from this but so you just experienced this tragedy, and then you're back trying to get into the routine of things.
Yeah,
So you didn't know that you were carrying trauma by the
no,
time you got to the therapist and the counselor.
not at all.
How did she know, wait a minute, this is, yes, you guys are here for your marriage, but we've got to go a different route with you.
Yeah.
What was the telltale signs, if you don't mind sharing?
Maybe I think generally when I speak, I'm an open book. I don't usually
Yeah,
hold things back.
yeah,
So I probably started sharing. I probably started saying, you know, and the therapist, knew that I worked in the trade center, so she started asking questions. You know what's happening is all of that stuff, and she knew I was there in '93 as well, and
yeah,
um, she asked questions, and I guess the way I was answering them, she was like, you know, you're like in a shock stage.
indeed. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So you get into this whole world of years later, you get into this
yeah,
whole world of where you are now, where you are helping people recover.
right. So let
How
me
did
give you a
you
little
get to
backstory.
that point? Yeah.
Here we go. So I got married very young, 21
Okay.
years old. Um, baby on the way, and I'm a kid, but I'm having a kid, and uh, things are going great. My first wife, rest in peace, she passed from cancer last year.
Mm,
Uh, uh, Good mom, kids always well dressed, on the bus stop, first ones, homework's going on, great, sports a little bit, and they get as they're growing older. But she developed an alcohol problem,
okay.
and I quickly developed a codependent enabler problem. You know, I was guilty as charged. I would be running to the liquor store. I didn't want arguments in the house. I
Yeah.
didn't want the neighbors to know we were fighting, even
Yeah.
though they probably knew. You know, it wasn't pretty. But from the outside, we looked like the perfect family.
Wow.
I mean, we would dress nice. Like I said, schoolwork's done, but we had a secret going on in the house,
Yeah.
and it was trauma. You know, and we would get invited to family parties, and a lot of times decline because of what was going on in the house. And the family members, close ones, thought that we were like being snobbish. We don't want to deal with them.
Hmm.
But then there were times we did go and say it was a backyard barbecue, and the liquor is flowing. By the time we got in the car ride home, it was chaos,
Wow.
and it just wasn't fun. And that went on for a couple of years. And like I said, I was an enabler. I was working on Wall Street. I was out entertaining a lot.
Hmm.
You know, the stuff you see in the movies happens.
Okay.
I was that guy.
Okay.
Um, there wasn't anything I didn't do at that time either. Maybe I wasn't addicted, but I was messing around with everything.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And I was an habitual weed smoker and didn't call it that because I didn't think it was that so big, but I
Yeah.
really was.
Yeah.
And so a couple of years go by, we're going to get a change. We moved from Staten Island, New York to New Jersey, being a fresh start. My wife at the time, she goes to AA. She gets really involved. She's like going to 2-3 meetings a day. She gets sober, has a lot of commitments, making coffee, going to hospitals.
Yeah.
She meets a Christian woman, and the woman asks her, "Why don't you come to church?" And my ex-wife goes to church. Her mom was already saved, and now she becomes saved.
Wow.
And her recovery went from the AA rooms to the church. And she's sober and things are going well there. And I wanted no part of it. Come to church. I golf on the weekends. I like to fish. They just want your money.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
had no interest at all. I'm telling you. And she said, okay, don't come. But I see she's lit up. She's happy. She's going to Bible study. I want no fun. We'll fast forward a few years. My daughter's now 15 years old.
Okay.
Gets in trouble, 16 maybe, in high school for smoking weed. And so my ex-wife goes to ground my daughter. You know, you're grounded. My daughter marched right in the garage, goes into one of my old golf bags, pulls out a bag of weed, and says, "This is my father's. How you grounded me?" Now I'm crushed.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say. I'm crushed, and it's not good. That was the last day I smoked.
Wow.
It was over. I was done. I said, I can't be a hypocrite, and I would, and take care of her if I'm going to be doing the wrong thing.
Right, right.
Still entertaining on Wall Street. Maybe now drinking with dinners and stuff like that, not party. Okay, so I think I got it reined in. My daughter's drug use escalated. We lived in an affluent neighborhood, and a lot of these kids are bored. I thought it was, I grew up in New York City. I grew up without a dad. I pushed the envelope with my mom pretty heavy, did whatever I wanted on the streets, and I didn't want that for my kids. So, but here we are in the suburbs, a lot of rich kids. We weren't rich, but we were comfortable.
Yeah.
They're going to house parties, and they're playing in the medicine cabinets. What's grandma got and what's mama got? And they're, experimenting, and they found pills, and they liked them, and she developed an addiction to different medications.
Wow.
And as a household, we were lost. We didn't go through this before. I didn't go through this. And that's why one of the things I do in coaching is sometimes you need somebody to help you navigate the landscape. You go online, you look for a treatment center or look for an outpatient. They all look the same. You don't know if they're good, they're reputable. You need somebody in your corner to work with you.
Right.
We didn't have that. She went to an outpatient that was okay, not bad. A couple of years go by, it's escalating. There were highs and lows. And then I found a place for her to go away in South Florida for treatment.
Okay.
It turned out to be the wrong level of care. She needed somewhere different, but I didn't know. I didn't have the education. That's why people need to reach out. That's why I talk about it. It's not to just sell my coaching with them. It's that you need somebody in your corner.
Yeah.
So she bounced around some different rehabs, and her use was getting worse.
Wow.
Not better. So I go down there 20-something years ago, and I'm visiting her at a treatment center. And I'm like, Dana, I got to pray for you. She's like, Daddy, what do you pray to? I wasn't saved. I said, I just pray. She goes, well, they take us to a Christian church. Why don't you go there?
Mm-hmm.
If you want to pray for me. So it was in Palm Beach, Florida. I went there. The pastor was an ex-football coach. And he gave this really good message, and something's going on. And I feel the Holy Spirit's like tapping on my shoulder. I've never seen an altar call before.
Yeah.
I've never been in this kind of place before. Born Jewish, had a lot of Catholic friends, went to Mass sometimes with them, Christmas. Never saw an altar call in a Christian service.
Yeah. Yeah. Very different, right?
Oh, my God. He has the altar call. I'm up there like a shot. I get saved.
Wow.
In my mind, I only get saved. Now I can speak to Christ, and I can pray for my daughter. And
Right.
that's where this ends. Not
Wow.
that I wanted it to end there, but I thought that's what it was all about.
Mm-hmm.
And, they told me to read John. Okay, I'm going to read John. And I get on the plane, I read John. I get back to New Jersey, go to the church in Jersey by my house. The pastor goes, "Oh, we've been waiting for you." And I'm like, I said, I read John. What do I do now? He's like,
Yeah.
read it 10 more times and then we'll have lunch. I'm like, what? This guy's as sarcastic as I am. I'm like, okay. But he had a good sense of humor. We became quite good friends over the years. And there was another guy there from Brooklyn, and he introduced himself to me. He's like, "You cook?" And I do like to cook. I go, "Yeah." He goes, "I'm having a men's breakfast Saturday morning. You want to help me?" I swear that week I became involved in men's ministry. I don't know what happened. God's
Wow.
got the sense of humor going,
Yeah.
okay, you're in men's ministry now. Because I could cook. And I liked it. I liked it a lot. And the fellowship. I hadn't made an adult friend in 20 years. Only the people I grew up with were part of my
Okay.
circle. And that was it. Now I'm making adult friends. It's kind of weird,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's good. And my daughter, again, she bounced in and out of different treatment centers. Eventually, she goes to a place where they don't care about money or insurance. And they say, as long as Dana wants to be here, she can stay.
Right.
She gets clean. They put her through school to become a CASAC and a behavioral health tech. She now starts working in the industry, doing well. Am I going too fast? Am I talking
No,
too
you're good.
much?
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Okay. So my timeline may be a little off, but a friend of mine is going to start a Celebrate Recovery in a church in Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Can you help me? You've had issues with your wife. You have your own issues, your daughter. I need some help." I'm like, "Yeah, I'll help you." Okay. And we start getting this extensive training before we're going to open the doors.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's for me. And I called my daughter and I said, "Dana, what do you think?" She goes, "Daddy, you got to stay." She goes, "Someone like me is going to walk through the door. And you've been through every war with me. Someone like my mom's going to come in and you're going to have to talk to them."
Yeah.
I said, "I'm staying." And my buddy who started used to tease me. He used to go, "But you're going to be the ministry leader one day." I said, No, 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 no. This is your thing. I'm here to help you. I'll
Just
facilitate
right.
the men's small group. I'll talk to guys when they come in. And he had to leave like 2 years later, family reasons. A woman took over. She had to leave. And now my daughter moved back from South Florida, and she was living in my house in Jersey. I'm remarried now.
Yeah.
I'm spending half my time in Jersey, half my time in Brooklyn. My new wife has an apartment in Brooklyn. Easy to get. So we commuted from Brooklyn. And my daughter's home about a year, and she's clean 7 years at that time. And she goes out and uses. And she's, "Daddy, I use." And she checked herself right into a treatment center.
Wow.
And I said, "Well, you can't come back to my house from the treatment center. You need to go to live at a woman's sober home." I said,
Okay.
"I don't live there all the time. I don't want to be worried. A sober home is better for you now." And I had to set some boundaries. And she went to the sober home, and then COVID hit. This is 2020. This was like March 2020, full blown COVID. I go to visit her. She's running the groups there because she loved recovery. She loved helping women. She must have got like 25 women into different treatment centers, even
Wow.
with no money, getting them scholarship. She had that gift. And they said, "We got to quarantine. There's so many women living here." Nobody knew what to do during COVID. Right? What do we
Of
do?
course.
They said, "We need Dana to go back home." Not only her, but like 25 women to go home and quarantine. I was afraid. And Dana's like, "I got this. I'm good. I'm going to spend some time with my girlfriend, and then I'm coming home." And Dana went out and got some drugs that night, and they were laced with fentanyl. And I lost my daughter on Palm Sunday of 2020.
Wow. Wait.
Yeah.
Wow.
I lose Dana. And he was like my greatest inspiration to help people. And this recovery group had no leader. I'm friends with the pastor. I said, Pastor James, we got like 35 people coming on a Thursday night. I need to keep the doors open. And I think I was, even though I'm crushed, I was able to get some of my own healing by running it and being there and getting them speaking.
Hey, what's up, leader? Quick break from the episode, but this might just change your speaking career forever. So listen up. If you're a speaker, coach, author, or visionary who knows your voice is meant to impact thousands, maybe even millions in the corporate space, ministry, or even the entertainment space, but you're tired of waiting for the right opportunity, pay close attention to what I'm about to say next. I want to personally invite you to a group called Need a Speaker. It's my free Facebook community of nearly over 300 purpose-driven speakers and decision makers for events. We're building stages, sharing gigs, and creating real momentum in our speaker businesses. And when you're ready to go pro and get paid to speak, jump into Speak on Stage School, where we teach you about the strategies and the systems and the stage presence that you'll need to turn your voice into a thriving business. No fluff, no hype, just results. So pause the fear, unmute your future, and join the movement today. The links are in the description below. Hey, your stage is waiting. So let's get it. I'll see you over in the group.
And kept the doors open. We had no women's facilitator. I asked a woman from the church. She said she would help. My wife came alongside her, who didn't have an addictions background, just to like help her.
Yeah.
They run the women's part of it. And we haven't missed a Thursday night since then. We have not one. It's like 5 years now, and 6
Wow.
years. Even Thanksgiving, I host my Thanksgiving there to feed everybody that wants to come.
Mm-hmm.
And along the way, before I lost my daughter, I said, Dana, I want to go to school to become a recovery coach. She's like, you got to go. You'll be great at this. I'm like, I've been on Wall Street 35 plus years, not in foreign currency, not like stocks or anything like that.
Okay.
That's what I knew. That was my identity. But I liked helping people. I went to school. I became a recovery coach. I started coaching guys by word of mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm like, I want more. I see that there's a lot of stigma in the workplace. I knew guys that died in my industry because they wouldn't come forward. They didn't tell nobody. They had a problem. They're afraid that if I tell somebody, I'm going to get fired. The truth is you don't get fired for telling somebody. The corporation you work for probably has a responsibility to send you to treatment. They get fired for all the dumb things along the way. They're coming in late, the nastiness to other people, they're showing up and not working right. And, that's why you get fired. So I went to school to do substance awareness in the workplace. So I'm a certified facilitator in that. And my goal is to try to train every Wall Street company, whether I start with HR or management, or every trade or broker you have, let me do like lunch and learn with the whole office, the whole trading floor.
Right.
And the stigma is real. The language is changed. We don't call people addicts anymore. We shouldn't.
Okay.
Now it's substance use disorder. And that's just the start. It helps people not be afraid to come forward. If they're not being called those. Nobody should be called a junkie, an addict, a pill popper. Because you know why? They were somebody's child. They didn't start out. They didn't have the aspiration in kindergarten or first grade to go, yeah, I want to be, to have a substance abuse problem. There's somebody's loved one. And they need to know that somebody's in their corner. And then you see it I give this story sometimes. I'm giving the substance awareness training. When I first became a coach, I volunteered in this hospital, Coney Island Hospital,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I'm in the emergency room, and I see these doctors giving great care. First responders come in, guy in a suit comes in. Now a guy comes in who overdosed. He was hit with Narcan, and I hear one of the nurses say, "Oh, this guy's been here like 9 times." And I see the doctor like sort of like brush him off,
Mm.
and I'm like, "Okay." And then the doctor looks at him and goes, "Oh, you're back again? Why should I even help you?" And I'm like, "What?" Okay. And I
Wow.
said, and I'm like, "Can I have a word with this guy? Can I talk?" And the doctor looks at me like, "Yeah, if you want, good luck," type of thing. And I closed the curtain and I go in and I talk to her. I said, "Can I pray with you?"
Yeah.
He says, "Yeah, you'd pray with me." Yeah. I said, "Do you like being spoken to like that?" He's like, "No, I don't." I said, "Treated like that?" He goes, "No, I don't." I said, "Do you want help?" He goes, "What? You willing to help me?" I said, "Sure, why not?" So we get on the phone and we start calling Christian treatment centers like Teen Challenge. I did some work with Teen Challenge. We
Mm-hmm.
start calling secular places. I just was trying to find him a bed. And we got him a bed that night. That guy is still clean today.
Mm.
And, he's still clean today. And we talk once in a while. And it wasn't me, it was God. It was the
Of course.
right moment, the timing that all lined up. But somebody had to give him a chance.
Mm-hmm.
And he was right in the middle of that stigma of who he was. They just looked at the addict, or the substance abuser. I
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't use that. And they didn't see the person.
My God, it's. I'm just thinking about as you're talking, some of the family members that I know that are dealing with this disorder, some of the friends and people that grew up with me that I know that
Yeah.
are still dealing with this um, this disorder. And you're so right. People, communities, systems will stigmatize this disorder and this struggle by the language even that you use and how you view people like this. What are some of the other things, Dave, that we could do to destigmatize this? Changing the language, being careful
Language
of what
first.
we call it, but what are some other things?
I think education,
Mm-hmm.
especially in the workplace, people need to know that they shouldn't be afraid to tell somebody,
Right.
"Hey, I got an issue going on." You know, everybody's afraid to tell somebody. They're afraid that they're either going to be looked down on or they're going to get fired. You
Right.
know, and until that culture starts changing in the workplace, every party I've ever been to in the workplace, um, so it's uh, alcohol is like the theme.
Mm-hmm.
you know. So why can't they have a party where, they have a quality mocktail station? You
Mm-hmm.
can, because who wants to go to a party and socialize? "Oh, I got a Diet Coke, or I'm holding a bottle of water. You
Right.
know, make it interesting, like a fun mocktail,
Yeah.
that, people don't feel like, oh, if I go there, I have to drink. They'll be asking me, why don't you drink? And all those kind of things. Why does it have to be the norm? Every award ceremony, you got to have a bottle. You have to have a drink. I used to watch the alcohol cart come
Right.
around my office on Fridays. It's not necessary,
Yeah.
and that's got to change. You know, Companies need to change. They have a thing out there now called recovery-friendly workplaces.
Okay.
Well, they will get tax savings if they hire people that will come out of treatment.
Mm. Okay.
You know, Start changing the culture. Have signs in your office that come forward. Don't be afraid. It's got to
Yeah.
be put in the mainstream. People need to see it. That you'll be okay if you tell somebody.
And I think, and I'm just thinking because having been, in a leadership level in healthcare, um,
Right?
you know, I think we're right on the money here. We're talking about culture and changing the culture. I think the workplace has become such a punitive place that people are already getting down on um, who doesn't perform well, if you don't meet your stats and you don't meet your quota and you don't, all of these things. And so it's kind of like it's hard to come forward in an atmosphere that is already saying, I'm not enough. That's already saying there's something wrong with you or something wrong with what you do or did or how you perform. And so I love, love, love the fact that you are challenging the culture of our families, of our communities, but even in our workplace. And I just think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I just think if we're going to change the culture in workplace, if we're going to change the culture in our households, even, we've got to put more grace and mercy in there, right? Over across the board for anybody to even want to come forward and say, hey, I'm imperfect and I'm dealing with this.
I don't mean to interrupt. I just always have a lot of thoughts in my head.
Go ahead.
I don't know whether to go to the workplace or the family. I'll give you the family first.
Okay.
When a family member has to go away to treatment,
yeah,
right, or maybe go to outpatient or whatever they want to call it, whatever they're doing, everybody in that household needs to get some sort of counseling or therapy.
Right.
Not just the person with the disorder, because I'm sure that your household, it has gone through chaos. Mm-hmm. Everybody's life's been turned upside down and everybody's a mess. And then who's going to be holding grudges? And the person may start doing well, but you're still throwing last year up to them, which is going to set them back. So everybody in the household needs to heal.
Yeah.
So that's how that stigma changes in the home. Mm-hmm. Oh, you did that 6 months ago. You did that 9 months ago. But that's not me anymore, Mom. Don't you see it? And sometimes it still is them. But when you see real change happening, mm-hmm. you have to support them. And you may not be able to support them unless you go get your own therapy and counseling. Yeah. You just may have that block there. Hey, you robbed me. You hurt me. You did this. You did that. I can't get past it. So how am I going to get past it? You're going to have to get some help yourself.
Totally.
Okay. Back to the workplace. Statistics show, real numbers, that sending someone to treatment, I don't care what it costs, is a lot cheaper than firing that person and trying to hire somebody to replace them.
Wow.
You're gonna have to probably, how many applicants you're gonna go to before you find the right guy, right? Mm-hmm. You have a proven good worker. He's just got a social issue going on, right? Yeah. Get him treatment. Maybe he goes away 1-2 months, whatever it is, goes to IOP, comes to work, goes to treatment at home, whatever the program plan is. But you're trying to hire somebody and you go to applicant after applicant, that costs money. Now you hire somebody, you got to train them. You train them for 3 months. This guy's no good. I got to let him go and train somebody else. Yeah. How much money did you spend there? Okay, I got a bright idea. I'm not going to train anybody. I'm going to steal a guy from my competitor and I'm going to pay him twice as much as he's worth. Now, how much did that cost you? So it's a lot cheaper to get the guy help that that has worked for you and try to give him another chance. Mm-hmm. As long as he's willing to come forward and say, I need help. Hey, I need help. Yeah. Can you help me? And these are just numbers and facts, but they're the truth. Another thing, if that guy gets help mm-hmm. and comes back to work for you and he's doing okay and his family's healing and stuff like that too, mm-hmm. he is going to be the most loyal employee in your company. Mm. And that's a fact.
I agree. I mean, because you have taken the time to offer grace, to offer mercy, to offer help. Anyone, right, in their sane, sober, right mind would be grateful for someone mm-hmm. who took the time to really help them come through some of the roughest, darkest times of their life. I'm thinking about one of my uncles, on my mother's side, who literally just went through this same situation, David, some months ago, and he's been on and off dealing with, substance abuse disorder for a while since he was a teenager. And he developed that issue from sexual trauma that he had experienced. And 50 some odd years old, moving toward his 60s and still at a job, worried about whether or not he can come forward because he kicked the habit, if you will, at one moment. And I hope I'm saying this right because I'm practicing, with changing my language too. But he kicked the habit in one season of his life, but it came back. So he's afraid of coming forward to his employer because he doesn't know if he's going to have a job. What do you say to a person who's listening in right now? They are, working in corporate America, working in ministry. They are a leader themselves, whatever. And they have this issue and they are struggling to come forward because they do not want to be treated differently or what have you. What are some of the things that you would say to a person who's at home listening right now, dealing with that?
I think the harder thing to deal with would be how you're being treated.
Yeah.
Because you're dealing with the flesh, you're dealing with individuals.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know how they're going to act. But I think it's against the law for them to fire.
Okay.
So there are laws out there about being fired if you come forward.
Okay.
You can't just be fired for coming forward.
Yeah.
But you could be treated differently. Like I said, you don't know how people act in this world. So
it's important. So what I'm hearing you say is it's important to know the law as well and have people in your corner that knows it.
Yeah.
This is good.
If you go to an HR and say to them, "Hey, I'm having a problem. I'd like to get some help," they're obligated to get you help.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And I'm praying prayerfully those who are listening into this conversation, if it is you, if it's somebody that these are things that you can come into understanding. You don't have to live in fear or work in fear. There are things in place to keep you safe while you walk this journey of healing and deliverance. Yeah. Right? My last thought here, David. You're in a room full of 100,000 people. You're in an arena. And they say, I need somebody to step on this stage and I need somebody to talk to people who are dealing with this disorder, or they have family members that are dealing with this disorder. And for some reason, they can't get through it. What's that one thing, if they looked at David and said, come to the stage, what's that one thing you believe God has placed in you to say that will hopefully help somebody get the help that they need?
Isolation kills. Isolation kills. If you don't tell somebody, you're going to get stuck in your own head. All those thoughts are going to go in your own head. You know what? And then I don't know if our whole audience believers or not, but believers have this big thing of saying, the enemy is telling me this and the enemy is telling me that, and the devil made me do it. The devil made me do it. That's flip Wilson theology, because it starts out with our flesh, right? Yeah. It's us. Then it's the world, right? It's our flesh and the world. Oh, we try to be like the world. And our flesh, it's ourselves. That voice in our head that we hear, it always sounds like us. Who does it sound like? So that's who we're listening to. So isolation kills. We got to get on the phone and call somebody. You have to get some people around you that you trust. You have to make some sort of friends that, you got to be able to first have a cup of coffee with somebody a couple of times. Share the small things. See if it comes back to you. If you go to church next Sunday and if somebody's telling you your story, that's not the guy to share with. Yeah. But get some people to trust it. Hey, I'm having a problem. I need somebody to talk to. Want to meet for a cup of coffee? You got 5 minutes. Sometimes all you need is that 5 minutes just to sometimes redirect from where you're thinking. So I worry about isolation. The people that are highest risk are the people that don't tell anybody. Yeah. They're in their own heads all the time.
Yeah.
I'm going to plug my book. I know you didn't say it was time yet. So, because you talked about how do I learn to change the language?
Go ahead.
It's in here.
Yep.
My book is From Stigma to Sanity. It talks about how you can't be fired. It talks some of my life story. It talks about how the language needs to change. It talks about the different levels of care
Okay.
and all that, and how the brain chemicals change when the dopamine kicks in, and now it's no longer a choice. Um, there's a QR code on there. I don't know if we could actually get that,
Okay.
but that QR code will take you right to my website,
Okay.
ground
Hold,
zero
hold it up
recovery
just a
coaching
little
dot
bit
com.
more. Okay. Great.
All
Got
right.
it.
You click that QR code, it'll even take you to get a free coaching session with me, just so we can talk. And I'll
Nice.
talk to anybody, you
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. And you dove right into it. That's perfect, because I was going to say, how can people connect with you? Because some people may not feel comfortable telling people close to them still, but they
Yeah.
need that person in their corner. They've got David Mahler, and your company that could step in and
My
walk with them.
website is very simple,
Yeah,
groundzerorecoverycoaching.com.
I love it. I love it. So that information is going to be, guys, in the description below this video. You want to make sure that you check out that website, that you get the book. Family members, friends, get this book. It's not just for those who are struggling in this area, but it's also for family and support systems who know people who are struggling. You need to understand these things, understand how to change your language, and understand how to help your loved ones and your friends. And so I definitely recommend this piece of work that you just, David has just released.
I got a
David,
last thought here. Can
go
I
ahead.
give it? You mentioned being in a stadium, right?
Yeah.
So in 2023,
Mm-hmm.
There was 130,000 overdoses in the United States.
Mm.
75,000 of those overdoses came from fentanyl. So that's a complete football stadium full. Picture, I don't know who your team is, whether it's the Giants or the state. The stadium is sold out. That's how many people died. It's just too many. We're
That's too
losing too
many.
many people.
Sheesh. Wow. We're losing way too many and way too
One
fast
is too
because,
many. So
yeah,
one is too many. Now you think of hundreds of thousands.
yeah, yeah. So we're in a dire situation as a community and as a people. And so we need more Davids. That's why I'm even talking to people who are listening in right now, and you're saying, you know what, I don't have the issue, or I don't really even know anyone close to me, but this is on my heart to help with. I'm sure David would be open to sitting with you as well,
Oh, yeah.
so that you all could partner and work at providing things, systems, programs, places, safe places, to be able to stop this, really, this epidemic. It's an epidemic.
100%.
It's an epidemic. Um, David, man, wow. I'm going to be respectful of your time. I could go and go and go, but this is what I will say to you. As I've been listening to your story, brother, I am inspired by your willingness to share, your willingness to stand up for those who can't stand for themselves. And your road and your journey is extraordinary. The things that God has willed for you to overcome. And what I pray for you is that that same strength and will to overcome, that he would entrust you with more and more and more people to be able to help find and tap into that their will to overcome as well. I pray that he trusts you with more and more clientele and people that he would send your way, man, to help be transformed. I appreciate you, man.
Thanks. I appreciate it. A great talking.
Indeed, indeed. Hang tight, David. I'm going to wrap things up really quick. Guys, amazing, Amazing, amazing. If you got anything out of this talk, I want you to make sure you write us. Let us know. Say it in the chat, in the comment section. Reach out to us, my team. Let us know that this show was impactful and valuable. And give us testimonies of how now you know better, know better ways of how to be and how to help those you love who are enduring this struggle. Or maybe it's you. Maybe it's you that's dealing with it. I want to encourage you now. There's mercy and grace for you. And guess what? You're not too far that the hands of God, the heart of God, cannot reach you. David and his life and those that he has talked about is a example of what God can do through yielded vessels, vessels who are willing and ready to move into their breakthrough. He can do the same for you. Trust and believe me. Make sure you connect with David Mahler today. He is your guy. I'm talking to you, those who are listening. If it's you that's struggling or you know someone, David is your guy. Reach out today with no hesitation. Ground zero. I love that, man. I love that. This has been the Global Leaders Roundtable, and we've had yet again another great conversation. I'm your host, Kenyon R. Dudley, and until next time, I'll see you soon. Be blessed.